All right, Lee, I've got our movie for the week.
I'm ready. Prepared.
Killer Sofa.
The soul you were trying to save has already been doomed.
Okay.
So, Killer Sofa. I was recommended this. The person recommended it hadn't seen it. They just saw the box and they're like, you're gonna like this.
I immediately thought of you.
Yeah.
Like.
And I was like, okay, let's get that.
Okay.
I have seen the trailer.
Okay.
And just seeing the box, like I was totally in.
That's pretty evocative. Okay,
I'm like, okay, it's Deathbed, the bed that eats, only it's a recliner.
The bed that eats. I remember Deathbed.
So like,
hold on. When a killer recliner falls in love with a girl, it's up to a disgraced Jewish rabbi and a couple of broken-hearted detectives to figure out how to stop the bloody carnage that will follow. That is the strange. That's all it's on the back of the box. That is the strangest description I've ever seen. I was expecting to flip it over and be like, now I'm disappointed or something. But I have only more questions.
I have not read the back of the box.
I don't have any answers is what I'm saying. I have only more questions.
Based on what I've seen in the trailer,
yeah.
I don't know that back of the box fits for what I saw.
I have not seen the trailer. Real quick, what is the trailer? What impressions does the trailer give you about this movie?
It didn't leave a lot of impressions, but what I do recall is a like sneaky like recliner, like looking out of windows at people. I think it grabs somebody at some point. But
like they're sitting in it and it does like the Ghostbusters thing? Or?
No,
not the Ghostbusters thing. The Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse thing, or like the arms of the recliner.
Well, it looks kind of like Cherry, so yeah.
Okay.
But I think it did one of the grab from off screen grabs.
It has like a face though. You see it like looking at things.
It has eyes that I saw.
Okay.
I think it might have had like a crease mouth.
Okay.
I didn't see this in the trailer. Like I didn't see it actually like swallow somebody.
The thing on the box, which is Deathbed or like other stuff where it's like it's gonna like fold in half and go and have teeth and be like chewing someone
like
or
that.
something.
Like this looks like something that would be in like the Ghostbusters cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When like everything in the house turns into a monster.
Yeah.
And
Super interested though.
Okay.
Like it looked like it had enough of a budget from the trailer that I'm like, okay. It was
is this
filmed.
a recent movie?
The back of the box gives me pause. It looks kind of shitty from the back of the box.
Okay, hold on.
But that's just a few frames that could have been picked improperly. While I actually saw a motion picture happening, I was like, okay, it did look okay.
I've gathered 3 facts.
What do you got?
81 minutes.
That's good.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think they could pull off 80.
2018.
Yes, this is a newer movie.
Mad Kiwi Films.
Do you know Mad Kiwi?
No, but Kiwi. Perhaps we're in for a down under experience.
Oh, I do think they're
I think I've heard of them.
New Zealand.
Yeah. New Zealand.
I saw the trailer, so I think people were talking.
Oh, Kiwi is New Zealand.
I think they had. They had an accent.
I thought Australia for some reason because I'm an ignorant American.
That's fine.
Okay. Good times.
But yeah, no, this looked like a solid bad movie, and I think we will enjoy it.
Oh, in the tradition of Deathbed and all the other. Are there more movies like Deathbed?
Well, there's 2 Deathbeds, and from what
like furniture eating people, like a killer.
Oh, let's see. There's probably more things that are segments in things than there are actual full things.
Sure.
And my memory from Deathbed is I don't remember the mouth. I remember it being like acid or something. I haven't seen that movie in a long time though.
I've been pretending to have seen it. We've talked about it a lot, but I don't think I ever saw it. We had some friends.
You're like the friend who's like telling the story. It's like, you weren't there. We've said it so many times. You think you were there.
And then we did this. How do you know, Bob? And he's like, you keep telling me about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. We'll check this out, and in approximately 81 minutes, we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back with a non-spoiler review. All right, so we just watched Killer Sofa.
More of a rabid recliner, if
I was going to say, it's not actually
Is that a spoiler?
sofa.
Like the cover shows you that it's not a sofa.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like an artist's rendition of what would then be
I
a
wonder
sofa.
if I was like, oh, maybe in other countries they call that a sofa, but they call it a recliner in the movie. So that's not even a thing.
Maybe there. It is New Zealandish, right?
Yes,
it is doing that whole thing. What are your thoughts? What are your overall thoughts? Start with the thumbs up, thumbs down, and work your way back without spoiling anything.
I guess and this is like almost it's a tentative thumbs up.
Okay.
That I think this movie is so ridiculous.
Okay.
Where it's one of the things, like when you're watching kind of like a bad movie, you're like, I don't know what's happening. Like it did that to me a couple of times where I'm like, wait, what? Oh, we're going that way now. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like such a Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs premise.
It's a Cocoa Puff movie.
That takes turns that keep getting crazier, and you're like, well, you started out with an evil recliner.
Yeah.
and it got crazier? Yeah.
I would say it's probably not what people expect.
At all.
It may not be for everyone. Probably not for the people that see Killer Sofa, sign me up. That's what I'm worried about. I
might think it is for that person.
I will tentatively recommend it as well because I feel like it's well done enough and it does enough interesting stuff. The ending, I don't want to say shits the bed per se, but the ending is not what I expected nor what I wanted, nor like it did not subvert my expectations. It did not pay anything off. It was just like, why is it ending this way?
There's a combination of this movie is crazy or lazy or both.
The killer combination, if you will.
No, but it's certainly ridiculous. It's definitely a what the hell is going on movie that would be fun for a group.
Worth seeing, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, fun for a group, I think worth seeing.
Yeah, this will piss off your one friend who only likes like cinema. Watch it with him, he'll be like, what the fuck?
No, he will be tricked at parts in the beginning that have like weird red light like an Italian horror movie. He'll be really into it and he'll feel super betrayed and he'll hate you all afterwards.
At some point, everyone will feel betrayed.
Okay.
That's just fair.
All right.
But no, fun movie.
We must get into the spoilers as soon as possible then to explain what the hell we're talking about with these various betrayals and things.
So if you've seen it or don't care, we'll see you over in spoilers. If not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, so here we are for Kill a Sofa spoilers.
Is it Killa or Killer?
It's Killer.
Okay. I like Kill a Sofa better.
Kill a Sofa.
I would have watched it twice.
That's my rap name.
Yeah.
Kill a Sofa.
If it was Kill a Sofa, I would have watched it at least twice.
This movie, I said it takes you on twists and turns, and
Yeah.
it's made by crazy and lazy people because the
brand.
movie starts and I'm like, did I just not understand what I was just watching? It's a man who's like doing some shit and spilling blood on a photo, and you're like, okay,
Right.
all right, so that guy is like doing some witchcraft or some shit to that lady.
We are treated to a montage, and we are led to believe early and then later it kind of makes some references that like, okay, so the recliner is possessed, I guess, with this obsessed guy, right? Is that what we're talking about? The premise, the original premise?
When you see him, like what leads to that is that over the picture doing the thing, and then it immediately looks like he then gets murdered by somebody else. And I'm like, where the hell what? And that guy's got a picture also, it looked like.
I was too confused at the various pasty New Zealand boys, so I like some dude comes in with like a fucking skill saw or whatever, right, and is cutting that dude's legs off. So I was like, oh, that's the bad guy. This is an occulted demonic ritual, and somehow someone's soul is getting put into this recliner. I wasn't clear about the ins and outs, but I was so when they were so when they said, yeah, Federico was like really obsessed, and they're like showing like crime scene photos of like his apartment. There's like a skull with like a melted candle and all this stuff, and voodoo dolls and different things. I'm like, I see where this is going. Don't tell me any more, movie. Just leave it at that, please.
When that guy came in with the saw, though, it threw me for a fucking loop. Where I'm like, okay, this guy's like sawzalling off legs or something for no reason. Like, I'm like, it just took this line where I'm like, okay, so when are we getting to the shit?
I took it at face value and was even confused. Like, so I know the guy who was getting his legs cut off is not the guy picking up the sofa, but was the guy who did the cutting? Because he had like a thing on his face, and I only saw him briefly. I'm like, was that the same guy as that guy? No, I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
I didn't think that. I still don't know. And we got to the end, and I'm like, okay.
My first note is some confusion in the beginning.
Yes.
Also, like the people that pick up the like recliner, there's like a girl in that group who looks enough like the girl who's going to be the main character's best friend.
It's here.
But I was confused.
I didn't get that one.
Or why even have her there if it's just going to confuse me?
My thought was like, the people that did like the sacrifice thing and the killing and the whatever to put your soul on a thing and whatever, like, also knew she ordered a recliner because she was expecting the recliner.
Sorry, we've got to go now. I'm having some furniture delivered.
Yeah.
She's like, oh no, Bill or whatever the hell his name is, he'll climb it up for me. Oh, we gotta get back, cop. So sorry, got a recliner coming. Like,
So that was
the
whole
level
thing.
of coincidence there, and then that it accidentally gets delivered to the best friend's house by mistake, and I'm like, well, how'd that even happen? How did that happen?
That they explain.
How?
They say like she uses a bunch of addresses because of all of her obsessed people or whatever. Yeah.
I hate that.
That's
It's
not the
stupid.
end of the world.
Then
But yes.
Grandpa Joe or whatever, like he like touches it and like travels back in time and has like a heart attack, and that guy like breathes life into it, gives him
Yeah.
CPR and goes, "Oh, you all right?"
You sure you're okay?
Yeah.
And he gets up. No, I'm fine. No, he literally has like a spirit vision or something like that from
Yeah.
touching the like recliner. I want to move on, but not immediately from the point about the like delivery, because I was confused about that for a minute too, where I'm like, so is that guy's death or disappearance not related to the recliner delivery? I feel like there was something about, because there was a note like delivered to Francesca whoever, and there's an address and something. So I was like, okay, so that guy's sending her a like recliner, but he faked or had he's dead because of his occult rituals, whatever's happening. But the police show up the day the recliner shows up. It's this weird. It's very
Yeah.
weird.
But
Right?
like, even if she gives out fake addresses or this and that, wouldn't the stalker know where she really lived?
He's a stalker. They never consummated, right? So it's entirely
guess.
possible. He thinks she lives at the shop.
And
I don't know.
like, there's a lot of inconsistencies and timeline issues I don't understand. At one point, another stalker is
Yes.
bugging her house with cameras. But then when the cops investigate his mysterious death, it looked like he'd been recording her for weeks or something, because there were all these folders and days of recording.
God, he was spying on her.
And I'm like, well, when did that
Yes.
happen? I don't understand. Was he just
Well-
there to check on his cameras?
Yeah, they show you that he's looking through like a telescope, like at her house.
Not much for talking. Always paid his rent though. Never late. Not to imagine such a thing could happen in New Zealand.
So he's in the nearby area. and
Everyone
his-
lives within 6 doors of this
It
person.
feels like, yeah. And oh, he's at his mom's. She's
She lives three doors
down. Oh, Kryptonite starts playing. So like, yes, I do think there was some element there of him checking on the cameras, or this is something that he's done before. It's this goofy, weird thing or whatever. But that's not really made clear. It's not really underscored or like
No.
spelled out or whatever. So amidst all the confusion, though, did you have like, the recliner eventually gets delivered, right?
Yes.
They show you the recliner in the trailer. Do you see it doing stuff?
You see it moving around. I guess
You see it moving, though, right?
I thought you see it moving around. I know you definitely see the shots, like when she looks up and sees it in the window and stuff. Like, you
Yeah.
definitely saw those shots.
Okay,
And I
'cause-
thought there was a little more, but again, it was a little while ago. Maybe
I want to talk about.
correctly.
I want to talk about liking that though,
Uh-huh.
because like in the movie, because I didn't know that the recliner would ever be shown moving on camera at
Uh-huh.
first, and then slowly they're like introducing more and more. Like the person looks back and it's in like a different position. They go,
Yeah.
huh. And something happens or whatever, and like it looking out the window is incredibly like that's exactly what I wanted from this. Where like imagine a movie about like a statue or like a pet or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
else that would do that, where it's like that's not supposed to happen, but it's not impossible, right? And like
Yes.
now it's making it a sofa, and it plays it totally seriously. There's no camp to like, oh, the sofa's doing stuff, right? So like I was super on board for like a fair 20-minute chunk near the beginning of the movie with how they were slowly revealing
It gets much, because the beginning, I guess you're still with it because it doesn't make any sense. And then
Yeah.
once things start to make sense, I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Well,
like
so-
it gets to the point where you're explaining that beginning part was the guy performing the ritual, and he had paid or asked a friend to come by and cut his legs off.
Yes.
Why do you think he wanted you to cut his legs off, Warren? Was there something wrong with his legs?
The guy was into some weird stuff, man. I don't know. All he told me was that it was urgent, he didn't have much time, He was desperate to get the legs off.
Did they ever explain his face?
I'm hesitating here because like once we get to the end of the movie, they explain everything. Then they keep explaining. They tell you all sorts of things that no one should ever talk about or know ever.
Hang on,
right?
We'll go piece by piece here. So
No, but I'm just saying like everything falls apart. I just wanted to highlight that there's a chunk before they even start to do that, right? And then they start cutting back to the rabbi and the book or whatever, the like evil spirit.
Yeah.
Feel yourself going back. What do you see?
And he's like Googling stuff, and you're watching some like TV dude explain like the evil
like
spirits
an
possess
evil
thing.
televangelist type
Yeah,
guy.
like Hugh Grant being Joel Osteen in Australia, New Zealand, evil spirits compilation.
For it is the weak-willed mind that will first succumb to the spirit's flirtations and manipulations.
Super weird, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, but maybe it'll stick the landing and bring these elements together. But the part just with her in the apartment and like the recliner and how it's escalating and attacking and doing weird just moving stuff, I was like, I'm cool with that. And then the other elements were sort of giving me pause, and then it all comes together and crashes together. There's an explosion of matter and antimatter. It's this destructive force of way too much information and way too much backfilling of exposition. It's bad.
Yeah, because when you have a premise of it is like a possessed, recliner, that's kind of all you need. Once you mention that this man has his legs cut off so that he could go inside the recliner for a brief time, you're like, oh, it's not possessed at all.
Right.
It's this guy puppeteering this fucking thing. But you're like, that doesn't make sense. And it never ends up making sense because even when like he's revealed to be in there, he's standing up so tall, it appears he should have all of his legs. But regardless...
Or why, when the recliner talks, is he puppeteering the mouth of the recliner when no one's there?
I don't know.
That's what I mean. Like, it doesn't make sense before you even start to think about it. It doesn't make sense immediately. And like, when they said that, I was like, oh no! Because it's like, wait, what? Because it's clearly possessed.
Yeah. So even if it is just that, like, oh, his physical body has to be inside it, it's still like, well, what? So when they do show her the crime scene photos of like, oh, this guy's dead, they show a picture of a foot.
Yeah.
And you assume, because you saw him in the saw, that he had dismembered the whole body, and that just happens to be the photo of the foot you're seeing.
The neighbor found his dog playing with a human foot. That's how we identified the remains.
Was cleaning
up. Did they mention that they found his face too, though?
No, that's not explained.
Because when they eventually do, like the sofa gets ripped away, and it is this legless man inside the sofa, he also has no face. So I'm like, wait, how long was he in there? What am I to believe here? What's this supposed to be? And that guy just shoots him. He wasn't directly, like, maybe he was a murderer, but he wasn't directly doing anything that I think warranted getting shot. Even though he was probably already dead.
Cops shoot people all the time, dog.
Yeah, especially in New Zealand. They love it.
I don't really mind the shooting itself, but yeah, he shoots him and the top cushion then falls off, and he's like holding a spring in one hand and he's like holding the other. It's just...
the
so
spring
bad.
work is actually the most ridiculous thing ever.
Right.
At one point, he's chasing this girl, and he is behind her by like 20 feet, and she's going to like leave, and the spring grabs the door and like closes it. And I'm like, is he Dr. Octopusing a spring around the fucking building and up the staircase? What am I to believe?
I have a note that says long springs because I'm like, what's going on? When the boyfriend TJ is attacked to like finish him off, the second phase of his attack, a spring comes up and like taps on the window. And I was still on board then. I was like, that sucks. This is amazing, right? Because it's about a killer recliner. So it would have springs, and it has its like, the foot deployment action, right? So it's got, anything that you can do with what it might reasonably have. If it's supernatural, if it's an evil possessed piece of furniture, it can do stuff that normal furniture can't do, such as move and have a consciousness. So I'm willing to go for like springs come out and it's like Spawn with his chains, right? That's fine.
What do you even think he did to the boyfriend? Because like the mother like vacuumed up his eye, like he had mashed him into pulp,
shredded him somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. And I thought, and I could be mistaken, that we then saw his body totally whole a moment later or something.
When TJ was dying, he left a message. You know what I think?
Yeah. I did, from a filmmaking perspective, I did not hate that either. She she's like vacuuming, opens the door, then the thing, I gotta go move the thing and plug it somewhere else, and then she sees the like vacuum get full of like goo and guts and stuff. I'm like, that's an innovative way.
It worked.
If you can't show like a dead body, that's cool. I thought the filmmaking overall was pretty good. The lighting, the shots,
it was the writing
stuff.
that really hurt this movie. The look was fine.
I didn't, as I've been saying, I didn't like the other elements that it keeps cutting away to, and then when it all comes together, I really didn't like the ending. Right.
Well, there's a great part where you realize that it's essentially like a couple of witches that have been going through the generations, like snatching bodies and doing this, that, and other thing.
Is that what
more
I'm
or less
supposed to believe?
That
I'm
are trying to
very confused.
reunite with each other. And there's a great part where the cop is explaining like what's been happening, or was it the rabbi? One of them was showing, and she's like blah 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 blah. That's my great great grandmother. What? How the fuck do you know that?
Gerard was killed, burnt alive. But Valerie committed suicide in front of a peasant woman named Marie St. Clair.
That's my great-grandmother Marie.
At all. Because your great-great-grandmother, unless she's from your father's side, wouldn't even have the same last name as you. And even at that point...
How do you know who she is without knowing what she's probably most famous for, which is the legend of how she, turned this village upside down and then gets killed or like forced to kill herself, whatever?
She joined a monastery and lived in isolation until she passed in 1876.
It's
okay. I'm confused about something. So rather than run down the whole thing, maybe you can correct me on this. I thought he was basically saying, "Oh, your great grandmother's inside of you. Like Valerie's with you. That's why men are obsessed with you, because her spirit is like with you."
Valerie and Gerard had the power to ignite obsessive devotion from whoever crossed their path.
That's exactly what happens to me.
Then she gets possessed by the same person officially.
It's a very unusual flavor.
Would you like some more, Inspector?
Yes, please.
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know at all.
But you agree that that's a weird...
No, that's where I said it went on a series of lazy and crazy, where what is that and why is it happening? You don't know, and neither do I. And that's the...
Here's my theory. They had two ideas, and one was... some dead person inside of a like recliner, like a crazy ending where it's not supernatural and everyone goes, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense, and it's this crazy outlandish thing. They also had another idea for an actual possessed recliner with a backstory of colonial witches who were reuniting and all that other stuff. And they were just like, let's do both. Let's just do them both.
Upon looking at the box of Killer Sofa, you have a certain expectation of a Cherry-esque Pee Wee Herman monster that is a sofa, or a demon in a sofa, or something like that. But what you get is not that. You never get what's on the box. It is a complete trick. What you do get is a number of starters and stoppers that don't necessarily line up, or you wouldn't want to, that run the full gamut of a movie. from the beginning to the end, it is a series of what the fuck am I watching, and then why did that happen?
There was a core there. I want to say it's 20 minutes long again, like it's just a little piece. After the recliner gets delivered, maybe when it has the music video in there for no reason and she's dancing.
It's cold, and I'm craving food and wine, but I'm here with this brush, perfecting your lines. You're cold.
Probably from there to the point where people start like figuring it out or talking about something where like you've got like a hint of like there's an evil spirit thing called the book, and like that's something.
You sure it was the book?
Yes. Yeah, and a strong one as well.
And then like, oh, here's my best friend, and then she's telling the cops I just have this effect on men and this thing.
Federico was very dedicated to me.
Dedicated. The guy was obsessed.
How cringy did that acting feel at that moment?
All
Because
her
the
acting
dialogue,
completely?
no, in that specific scene, but kind of. In that specific scene, the dialogue is so bad. She's like, I don't know, men are just obsessed with me.
Men especially just seem to get very attached to me.
You mean they become obsessed with you?
Yes. I already told you this.
Oh, like some bullshit.
And like the man cop is like,
and you kind of like the foreshadowing was like the writing was on the wall so
Huge.
early on. We were like, well, he's obsessed with her, and then like it cuts to a
everyone
series of things where he's like, oh, he's doing push-ups and looking at pictures of her. Oh, he's zooming in. Oh, he's obsessed.
which is weird because that's what I was doing when I was watching it. I had a picture of her up and I was doing push-ups with no shirt on.
Well, you got it.
It was disgusting.
I
actually wanted them to go into something with that, with like in that scene you're talking about, and in a few other scenes, and it's not only when Francesca's talking, but her friend Maxine, whatever, she just stares at Francesca.
Look, I know what you're thinking. I know this looks strange, and it is very strange. See.
And I was like, she's in love with Francesca, and that's gonna come into play somehow. And I'm like, is she in on it? Is she gonna make a choice later based on some goofy thing? Francesca even says, I just have that effect on men and some women.
Ever since I can remember, I've had this effect on men and sometimes women.
And even during that moment, Maxie's staring at her lovingly for all these different scenes.
Real quick jump to, she goes to avoid being killed by the sofa, jumps out the window into a recycling bin, crumbles, falls directly straight into it, and glass is embedded all in her.
Piece of glass,
a huge chunk is like in her skull. And she's just like, fine.
Yeah,
she wakes up 6 hours later, I'm fine.
She doesn't shock you.
Are you okay?
It's over.
This movie's, as I think back on it more, the movie's bad.
No, but like there was a moment there, once the recliner is delivered, before it gets weird, right? I was like, okay, it's it's gonna play it seriously. We're gonna have this killer recliner. It's got two buttons, and then like the folds of the cushions move like a mouth, and stuff was creepy. I liked the red light and her writhing around and then waking up and her being like unreliable. She's, they show her taking pills, you're not sure what's going on. They show all these things happening. And then it keeps building up to the point where, I think it's the flashlight scene. Where she moves it and it moves a little or something like that.
Where like it reveals itself constantly in a position where it would have no reason to.
Yeah.
Like it could easily have just been like, all right, or like when the boyfriend gets away. How did it not finish him? I don't understand how like it's revealing itself to multiple people constantly, moving around, getting noticed, and just like so early on, because like this would be like day one shit where it's like, come on, rookie, step it up.
Well, like before it even starts doing bad things, there's like candles and everything set up, right?
How
It's
did it
very
light
strange.
candles?
Exactly.
How did it do anything?
Because there's
At
a
certain
corpse
parts,
inside
it's
of it.
like tiptoeing on the recliny bit. And you're like, okay, that looks goofy as hell.
Yeah.
Other times it's just kind of like wiggling.
Right. So like that was reading like comedically to me with the candles and stuff like that, and even with the boyfriend.
When it moved when the boyfriend ate the cookie and we went for a second one and it wasn't there.
What did you get up to last night?
I just stayed at home with Maxie. I was really sad about Frederico, you know. I even had nightmares.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, that's funny.
No, I like that. I was on board, and if it had continued that way, kind of, and just gotten progressively weirder, maybe that's the funny part, is that no one says, get rid of the fucking recliner, or something like, or like whatever, right? Some like obvious things you could have done like something with there, but instead they lean into all this backstory and this witchcraft and the evil spirit and the stuff, and it gets so convoluted and just like you say, bad. Because like once the audience knows certain things, having other things happen like doesn't make sense anymore.
No. So much happens in this movie.
Again, the recliner's like talking into the drain.
And I'm like, where is she?
Her.
Like, how far is that traveling?
So I took that to be supernatural, but if there is a rotting corpse being puppeteered by a dead warlock inside of the recliner, A, he doesn't have to move the cushion for it to talk,
No.
and B,
he shouldn't have to look through the window eye hole either.
He doesn't have the powers or whatever. And you might be thinking, oh, you're not giving it enough credit. That dead corpse, was the thing that was possessed, not the recliner. That's the whole point. At the end, her friend looks into one of the button eyes, and now Francesca's like in the actual recliner.
So choose your battles wisely, as the demon is a formidable adversary.
So we have a movie now where both the recliner itself and the corpse that is sometimes inside of it could both be possessed independently. It makes no sense.
They make some weird thing where it's like in lieu of having the blah blah, a body can sometimes possess the nearest object or some bullshit. And I'm like, what?
It's not unusual for a Dabuk, after he's done with a human, to use the human carcass to store souls. If the carcass becomes unusable, the souls will be transferred to the nearest object.
I think someone said it's going to look so cool when that cop shoots the recliner and you realize there was a corpse in there the whole time. It's going to be so awesome that we need to put that in the movie, no matter how dumb it is.
Like, and should the cop have been in the button too? Like, they took over his body, so they had to have pushed out his soul.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why is her body in the recliner? Is she in there with the cop? What happened to the cop?
When she's writhing on the fucking recliner, just like touching it, I'm like, what is supposed to be happening here?
Supernatural sex stuff.
Yeah, but like, because clearly we've established that she is the one with the power. Like, and like they say in the story, the man had the power too, but he's like a corpse or some shit at the moment. I guess she could feel it through the fucking soul of the thing. I love that she's like a part of a band as just an individual like impressionist dancer. But like that kind of makes sense. You could capitalize on her like, oh, at every performance from our band, she dances. People love to fucking watch her. They'll come just to see that, and bam, we get some ticket sales. I'm like, that's pretty good.
And Maxie was the manager, kind of, she said, and all this different stuff. And that just gets abandoned throughout the whole thing. Right?
Yeah, and like the dad being a rabbi, and the dad or the grandfather being a rabbi, and the grandfather calling his father.
Shalom, Abba.
Well, I'm like, how old is he?
And like, we just see the picture of that guy and we hear his voice. It's so unnecessary.
It's
That's
like
a minor thing.
Like a mountain man Nick Nolte type photo, and you're like,
you can't handle this. And he's like, I can. I told you I can handle this.
You are not prepared
Abba.
or educated
Abba, listen to me.
deal with
Abba, I'm your son. I have the gift. You don't have the gift. You don't even have the right to call yourself. Oh, here we go again. We've talked about this already.
He's a rabbi slash like junk shop owner or something.
Hey, New Zealand's different. We don't know what they do with their rabbis.
The more I think about this movie, the more I hate this movie.
Yeah, like the chain of events for this whole thing to work, like you're talking about. I was thinking so they kill the cop because they want to show the same poisoning, and now we know like the lipstick and the not being freaked out anymore is not enough of a clue. We have to have her with the flower in the thing and like the exact same poison or whatever. So that cop's body is dying, right?
Yeah.
And you might think, well, he's not the cop anymore. Now he's Gerard, so this is gonna fix itself or something like that. But wasn't Gerard in the body of Federico, the corpse that was in the recliner? And doesn't the coroner say, this body's 2 weeks old, dead?
Yes.
It was 2 days ago. I was there.
Well, the body I've got here has been decomposing for at least 2 weeks.
You're absolutely sure?
Yep, this body's been dead for weeks.
And you're like, okay. So he will decompose. They'll just have to find like a new body. That makes sense. Except it doesn't, because I don't think Francesca's dead, but Valerie's in there. So why even kill the cop? She should
Unless the ghost killed her, because the ghost like grabs her hand and then it cuts away.
Okay.
So it could have killed her.
The movie would have had to have told me that then.
The movie has told me literally almost nothing. So. Yes. I don't think it is able to assume anything because it's written so loosely for the ability to have 7 different plots happening.
And 7 like shocking moments and reveals to fit in a recliner, and then it cuts, and like that's cool to do that, but not if it sacrifices the entire, like I don't think movies have to make sense. I don't think movies that don't make sense would necessarily be enhanced by making more sense, but this doesn't make sense in a way that hurt my experience of watching the movie.
Yeah.
Right? And there's no there's no way out of this. It constantly provides one explanation or like chain of events that contradicts something else that like just happened or is about to happen in a way that doesn't allow you to be like, that was a fun sofa though. Like you can't even get away with that.
No, this movie's only fun for a group because there's so many what the fuck moments that you're gonna just be yelling at the screen.
It's actually like a great movie for a group, right? Because people that are not paying attention will look up and be like, wait, I thought the sofa was possessed. No. Well, now it is, but before it wasn't. Like, I just realized, and any like direction I slice it, I find like a new way to like make fun of what they chose to do. It's very puzzling to me how this happened.
Yeah, I can't imagine making like, and this looks like it could have been made for very low money.
It's a modern movie with a low budget, right?
Yeah. So my thought, I was going to say, how did they get this greenlit? And I'm like, well, they probably just took the 10 grand and made it.
I wonder how much it costs.
I don't know.
Less than 50 though, right? I think
would be my guess.
And New Zealand has different money, so who knows how
they also have a lot of like, you always see like the film credits from the New Zealand Film Association and things like that. I didn't actually look on this one. I did watch it past the credits because I was like, this is the kind of shit that's going to have some other totally sideways thing at the end. It didn't.
And it did not.
But I was like waiting for it. I'm like, and at the end, a dinosaur or something's going to happen because this movie's fucking bananas.
It's like the moon and like the sun's coming over the thing of the crater and then the chair's there.
Yeah.
Did you like the chair in general, the look of the chair in the beginning before you knew?
I liked it when I thought at some point like the bottom cushion was going to come up and there's going to be teeth or something.
Right.
I was like, oh, this will be really cool.
Like the rest of the face.
Yeah, it got a little lame and like it started to like at certain points look like a guy was like moving it around like the way like it like separated from itself. I don't know. It stopped looking very sofa-y. When he carries it up, though, it's like folded in a perfect square. Like, and I'm like, if there was a guy in there, how flexible would that guy be?
That was my take. Was once they show how like the guy in there and like how the guy's in there, I'm like, that guy was literally never in there at like any point during this at all. Yeah. Because that's impossible.
You can't bend that way, and even if you can, how much does that weigh? You cut off my legs. I'm still like 160 pounds. Like.
And it seemed like it was a heavy recliner, but that's still one of those things in a movie where I'm like, if I watched it again and tried to imagine, what's the pilot doing right now? It would never work. It would never make sense, right? Which could be its own outlandish thing, but in this movie it does not.
Because it folded into like a perfect square.
Yeah.
Like in the most
and
ridiculous
he rolled it up
way.
the stairs, and this like rotting corpse doesn't have a smell, I guess, or something.
2 weeks of no face, you don't smell.
You don't smell. Yeah. 2 weeks, no face, no legs.
I was even thinking like the conservative pejorative statement here. When I first thought it was a guy who just had his legs cut off and got put in there, I'm like, how is he walking on those nubs? The pain. It would be ridiculous. And I'm like, died 2 weeks ago. How long did it take to put him in the chair? Because we saw him get cut, and it got delivered like the next day.
It seems like the whole movie's a matter of days, right? It seems like the cops are investigating, maybe a day or two to find him. The chair's in there for a day or two, maybe, right? It seems like very rapid, so.
Yeah.
Nothing adds up. Nothing makes sense. Do you have any redeemable qualities at all for the movie? Anything to score it like?
I really don't have many things of like, well, this is the reason to see it. This part's so good. This is great. It's like,
I think it's worth seeing for yourself is why I said tepid recommendation.
Yeah, well, I also gave it a recommendation because it's something that's so ridiculous to think somebody wrote this and then convinced people to make this that it's worth seeing.
The 1-2 punch of how movies get made.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Killer Sofa sells a lot, right?
I've been saying for years, the name is all you need, and if you also have a good poster, you're killing it. Like,
what if you had a recliner with teeth?
Yeah, it got me.
And then made a movie where the recliner never has teeth.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that either. That's bad. I liked the way that a lot of it looked and flowed and stuff. The editing, the lighting, the cinematography, basic stuff, I thought was well done enough.
My biggest issue was with the actors and the script. I wasn't a big fan of the actors, and the script was bad. So
right.
Those two things hurt me, but the visuals were good.
And the sofa is charming in its own way until it gets so crazy that I can't deal with it anymore.
When it's obeying the natural rules of a sofa, it was working fine. When it started doing some weird spring shit, I was like,
Yeah, just like the subtle, like, it's turned this way, and then there's that one cool shot where it like pans across the room and someone's doing something and then move from one side to the other, and then the camera's like coming the other way, and then the sofa's like turned to be like watching them kind of or whatever.
Yeah, the eyes like kind of moved a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, like the cushion moved as if just different people were sitting on it, like it was totally natural, I thought. It was like tilted this way and then it was like tilted that way, like something. And like it was one big shot, and like with the relatively low budget that I assume this had, I feel like as soon as it was off camera, somebody ran in and started
sitting behind the couch and
starts mushing it into the right position and then runs away, and then the camera moves back. I was like, okay. Little things like that I can appreciate, but the ending is so unsatisfying that like I can't in like good conscience say it's bad, but it's you enjoy yourself, right? It's just so like
and like I can't even say it just ends because it just ends like 3 times.
Yeah, well, injecting all that stuff in it was like not the right decision.
No,
I feel so bad because like who am I? Like, oh, what about your own movie? Whatever those things are. But like I think it's very clear you could have like given this script to people at that stage and been like, wait, what? And then been the whole thing.
Nah, can't help everybody all the time. Fuck this movie. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinion